Down in my soul, there's a place no one knows. Got so close, can't deny. Shut my eyes, love is blind.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, it doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, well, it really does not matter who the host is. Anyways, today's Wednesday, November the 24th of 2021. Yeah, I almost wanted to say 22 there. I don't know why. It's not like I've said anything that's related to 22 at the moment, but hey, that's, I guess, the way that the thing goes. As we are talking and moving and grooving this morning. Anyways, today's, like I said, Wednesday, November the 24th, day 328th of the year, and only 37 days left to go before it is all over with. Yes, that is for sure. Exactly what are the things that are going on. So anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Fisherman Village down in our undisclosed temp studio, as we are hanging out and doing the things that we do, and we're coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at, you know, that place. Radio. So yes, we are also hanging out with our friends at RadioBig.fm. So here we go. You know, this is it. This is what we've been talking about. This is what we kept on saying we're going to get to. And I guess we can say literally, we are here right now. It is the day before Thanksgiving here in the US of A. If you are doing the celebration of all that kind of fun stuff. So are you ready? Are you ready? Are things getting ready to move and go from there? I mean, that is the question to ask. We have to ask the question, are you ready to move and groove and all that kind of fun stuff? Anyways, let's get to moving and let's start talking about what is trending according to the top fiction and nonfiction books currently on the New York Times bestsellers list. So let's take it from both sides. Here we go at the number 5 spot. Better Off Dead is in the fiction category. At number 4, Never. At number 3, The Stranger in the Lifeboat. At number 2, The Judge List. And at the number 1 spot, according to the fiction category, is The Dark Hours. If you're looking for the nonfiction category, here's what we got here. The Lyrics, 1956 to present. That one's by Paul McCartney. At number 4, The Storyteller. At number 3, The President and the Freedom Fighter. At number 2, The Dawn of Everything. And at the number 1 spot, according to the nonfiction category, going inside of the information that's given to us by the New York Times bestsellers list, is Will by Will Smith and Mark Manson. So there you go. Anyway, so that's what's going on inside of that particular world. So maybe it is time for us to tell you what is going on inside of the world as a whole. And we'll have our friends at Feature Story News give you that information right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. New Zealand will relax its border measures against COVID-19 next year, with fully COVID-vaccinated visitors allowed in by the end of April. New Zealanders currently waiting for quarantine hotel spots to be able to return home will see some rules eased from mid-January. Germany's SPD, FDP and Greens are expected to present a coalition government deal that they've reached later. Olaf Scholz will succeed Angela Merkel after agreement was reached 2 months after elections. India is set to introduce a new bill in Parliament that could block many cryptocurrencies in the country. Authorities are seeking to rein in private cryptos that they describe as volatile and risky. But this could pave the way for a new government-regulated digital currency, as our correspondent Ishan Garg reports from FSN's bureau in New Delhi.
The upcoming winter session of the parliament could tighten the noose around cryptocurrencies in India. Reports say officials are taking a closer look at private cryptos. Only those that live up to the new high standards of safety set by the government may be allowed to operate. Currently, Indians hold more than $5 billion worth of cryptocurrencies, almost all of which are private digital tokens. It's unclear what happens to their holdings, but analysts say the value could tank if the law is passed. Officials may also introduce a government-regulated cryptocurrency, a major course correction from authorities that once considered banning all forms of digital currency. Analysts say the growing popularity of the digital asset among 20 million investors in India may have changed the officials' mind.
Several backbench Conservative lawmakers have reportedly sent letters of no confidence in the leadership of UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. The Sun reports around a dozen letters have been sent, although 54 would be needed to trigger a confidence vote. It follows weeks of criticism for Boris Johnson's government on issues from sleaze to tax and policy on transport and healthcare. But Cabinet Minister Dominic Raab says he's not expecting any move against the Prime Minister's leadership.
No, and it strikes me as there's the usual Westminster tittle-tattle. I'm not aware of that. There'll always be the scrutiny, the noisiness that comes to British politics. Frankly, overwhelmingly, and I talk to colleagues, MPs on the backbenches on all sides all the time. There is huge support for what we're doing and what the Prime Minister is doing. The fact that we're as strong in the opinion polls at this stage of the electoral cycle is testament to all the work we've been doing, and I think there's huge credit still for the boss and for the government on the vaccine rollout. But of course, what we're focused on is the boosters, which will see us through the cold months. I think the Prime Minister has been leading on that.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, looking at one of the most hotly awaited decisions in Asia relating to COVID-19. When will the Chinese border with Hong Kong reopen? Despite multiple meetings, pleas from business executives and cross-border delegations, Hong Kong's Chief Executive Carrie Lam said on Tuesday there are still a range of targets that must be met before travel can resume. Richard Kimber is FSN's Hong Kong correspondent.
A team of health experts from China are wrapping up a 4-day inspection of Hong Kong's various anti-epidemic control measures. They've been visiting key border points such as the airport and the bridge that connects Hong Kong to Macau and the southern Chinese city of Zhuhai. They've also been inspecting hospitals, hotels being used for quarantining incoming travellers, and also the testing and sample collection process for travellers who come to Hong Kong. Senior Hong Kong politicians say that if the government carries out all the recommendations from China, then quarantine-free travel to the mainland should soon be permitted. But the big question is when. A return delegation from Hong Kong is heading to China on Thursday for more meetings.
One of the complexities is a result of China's stringent quarantine for arriving travellers from outside the country's borders. They must all lock down completely for 21 days when they arrive in China before being cleared to enter the general population. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, New Zealand will relax its border measures next year against COVID-19. Germany's SPD, FDP and Greens are expected to present a coalition government deal later. India is set to introduce a new bill in Parliament that could block many cryptocurrencies in the country. And several backbench Conservative lawmakers have reportedly sent letters of no confidence in the leadership of UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
You know how sometimes there's plans for everything out there? You have plans of going back to the gym. You have plans on eating right. You have plans on doing a diet. You know, all those things. What if I told you that you can make a plan to stop male pattern baldness? And let me tell you how you can start this journey off right now with my friends at Keeps. All you have to do is go to the website keeps.com, keeps.com/safety to receive your first month free of treatment. Keep in mind, 2 out of 3 men will experience some form of hair loss by the time that they are 35. More than 50 million men in the U.S. suffer from male pattern baldness. There are 2 FDA-approved medications that can prevent hair loss. Keeps offers them both. So all you need to do is go to keeps.com/safety to find out more and to get your plan rolling. Now keep this in mind. For a limited time, get your first month free. Claim your offer at KEEPS. That's keeps.com/safety. KEEPS.com/safety.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets, and they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, there you go. 14 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out and doing the things that we do. That is for sure. So let's get moving and grooving and all that other kind of fun stuff. You know, all the wordsmith gimmick stuff that one would normally say, I guess, is really what we're looking forward to. I love when the camera starts going all crazy on me, because, you know, it's fun times there. Anyway, so taking it from the top of the hit list of exactly what has been going on inside of the overnights and all that kind of fun stuff, let's tell you what we have found information-wise, because we're going to get that going. Here we go. Brian Laundrie has died as a result of a self-inflicted gunshot to the head. Steve Boltonio, the Laundrie's family attorney, spoke to TMZ this week, revealing that the forensic information that they were able to disclose at the fugitive bones determined that he died by suicide. Laundrie was a person of interest in the disappearance homicide of Gabby Petito, his former girlfriend. While the news answers some questions in the case, more still remain that were not answered. So there you go. Inside of that. So it's terrible to hear about what is going on inside of there, but hey, it is kind of some of the information that we are sharing. I don't even know where to go when you hear stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, to continue talking about some other things going on, Harry Medical College, a historical black college, is handing out generous gifts for the holiday season. President James K. Hildrich announced on Monday that each student will receive $10,000 in cash. The money comes from the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund, aka Coronavirus Relief Money. Over 950 students will get the cash. So I wonder if you still have like some student loans that are open, or if you still have some money that is owed to the school. Can you just get it like reduced, and can you get a tax break on it? Because I mean, that's going to be some other questions there for sure. Anyways, let's talk about some other stuff going on inside of the world real quick. Inflation has hit the Dollar Tree. The company announced on Tuesday that the majority of its products will now be at a cost of $1.25 starting the first quarter of 2022. The decision is permanent. So I'm wondering here, will there be a name change to the $1.25 tree? I mean, I'm just asking because maybe that's something to think about. If you're called the Dollar Tree, I mean, it's still kind of like $1.25. So is it $1.25 tree? I mean, I don't know. Just a lot of stuff to think about as we are talking this morning. I mean, think about this real quick. What else would you call it? It's a permanent decision. There needs to be a name change. Anyways, Rudy Good, a man convicted of killing a British exchange student, Meredith Kirscher, in Italy, has been released from prison. The 34-year-old was convicted in October of 2008 for his role in the murder. He was granted an early release from prison yesterday for good behavior. His lawyers told the New York Times that he served 13 years out of a 30-year sentence. Rudy was arrested and charged alongside Amanda Knox, who lived with Ketcher and Knox's boyfriend at the time, Rafael Celecito. Knox and Celecito were infamously convicted and then acquitted of the crime. So there you go. Anyway, some interesting stuff always going on inside of the world of the news as we are talking first thing going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Anyways, a federal judge found several pharmacies to blame for the opioid crisis in Ohio on Tuesday. CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart were determined to have recklessly distributed massive amounts of pain pills in 2 Ohio counties, leading to hundreds of overdose deaths. The verdict could set the tone for other cities and governments to hold pharmacies accountable for their roles in the opioid crisis. The amount of pharmacies will pay and damages will be decided by a federal judge this spring. I'm going to tell you, as you know, and I know, automatically this is going to open the door for some massiveness in regards of what people are going to do with that info the moment they find out.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
I mean, let's just be realistic. Let's not lie here and say that it's not going to be the case. You already know this. You already know that the information will change based on whatever the hell is going on. It's just the way that the world goes. It happens that way. We talk about it. I mean, lawsuits are pretty a big thing here in the U.S., as you already know about that. And then we'll kind of go and talk and then move and groove and all that other fun information, because that's just the way that it goes at the moment. Anyways, to continue talking real quick about some other things. A rape conviction that was the basis of the memoir by award-winning author Alice Sebold has been overturned after authorities determined that there were serious flaws in the 1982 prosecution. Anthony Broadwater, who spent 16 years in prison, was cleared Monday by a judge of raping Sebold when she was a student in Syracuse University. She wrote about the assault in her 1999 memoir, Lucky. Broadwater finished his term in 1999, but remained on the New York Sex Offenders Registry with claims that blighting his job, proposed and negatively affected his relationship with his friends and family members. A film adaptation of the book was in the work. It is unclear if it will continue with the new information. So, I mean, let's get some more data here, because I mean, how did you run with this for such a long period of time and no one know about it on what was going on? Because if there were some other things that were happening, we would need to know these things. It can't just be, hey, just partial information and then not having everything else that's going on there at one time. Just something to think about as we are talking right now, 21 minutes past the top of the hour.
Enjoy the best safety shows on the planet on safetyfm.com.
Okay, a sixth death was announced as the result of Sunday's parade massacre in Wisconsin. This time, an 8-year-old boy. Suspect Darrell E. Brooks was charged with the 5 counts of first-degree intentional homicide on Tuesday, and prosecutors now expect to charge him with a 6th one. The criminal complaint makes clear that the law enforcement believes that Brooks intentionally carried out the attack. This was the intention of the act of the strike and hurt as many people as possible, according to the complaint. One officer notes that in the report, as I continued to watch the SUV, it continued to drive in zigzag motion. It was like an SUV was trying to avoid vehicles, not people. There was no attempt made by the vehicle to stop, much less slow down. In addition to the 6 confirmed deaths, 62 others have been injured. Much has been made of Brooks' criminal history after being out on bail as little as $1,000 recently as of Friday. The judge has set a $5 million bail. Meanwhile, there is a buzz on Twitter that some sports gossip sites that NFL stars and Wisconsin native J.J. Watt will cover the funeral expenses for the victims. So we'll take a look exactly what is going on there as we are talking and moving and grooving. Anyways, let's get you to Johnny Smalls right here and let him tell you about what's going on inside of the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Wednesday, November 24th, 2021. The S&P 500 regained its footing Wednesday after a quick pullback in prices. The move is due in part to weaker than expected PMI numbers that suggest economic activity slowed in the month of November. Although Tuesday's action was bullish, the market could continue to fall on Wednesday simply because of lack of trading volume. The markets are closed Thursday for the Thanksgiving holiday and will not resume normal trading until Friday. Today's market action will be driven by a raft of economic data, including the GDP revision and personal income and spending data. The PCE Price Index, the Fed's favorite tool for measuring consumer-level inflation, will be the release of the week. It's expected to accelerate on a month-over-month basis and rise 4.1% versus last year. A hotter-than-expected number would be bad for the market. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one. So let's talk about what we found on our end. Markets finished in mixed territory on Tuesday as the Dow gained 194 points. The S&P added 7 points, and the NASDAQ slipped 79 points. Technology shares fell For the second straight day, as Treasury bonds yields rose, Zoom video communication plummeted more than 14% after executives disclosed failing revenue in recent conference calls. So there you go. But here's my question here. I mean, let's just talk about it. Let's not lie. There's so many different applications out there right now where you can actually get in there and do video conferencing. I mean, there is no other way around it at the moment. I mean, think about it. Think about all of the stuff that is currently available that will allow you to do all the stuff that you want to do. I mean, it's just mesmerizing if you think about it in regards to how many products are out there that would allow you to do everything that you want to do. I mean, think about it real quick. Do you only use Zoom? Or is there other things that you think about? Like, do you consider using the whole thing with, let's say, hypothetically, let's just use this one as an example. Like, do you use Google in regards of the conferencing one that they have available now? I mean, I'm just asking questions here because I would love to know and go from there. Anyways, just some things to think about as we are talking here on this end of what is going on. Anyway, so just in case, phone lines are open at 866. No. Wrong thing. My brain just defaulted. If you want to call into the studio, you're more than welcome on doing so by going to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com, just in case. Apparently, I had not turned it on, so oops, sorry about that. Anyways, let's continue talking. Essential non-resident travelers crossing U.S. borders will be required to be fully vaccinated beginning January the 22nd. The requirement matches the rules that took effect this month for leisure travel to the States. About 47 million adults in the U.S. currently are unvaccinated per the CDC. Worth asking, when does this go into place again? I mean, that's going to be the question because we're going to have that answer the 22nd of January. So I can tell you that depending on what border you're coming through, you already have to show proof that you don't have COVID in regards of actually coming across, and that's kind of part of the gig of how it works. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world. A Russian woman miraculously survived a brutal attack during which her husband allegedly plunged a 10-inch knife into her nose. The 60-year-old unidentified woman was able to escape the attack and run to the neighbor for help. She was then rushed to the hospital where she underwent surgery to remove the blade. The 64-year-old husband is being held for suspicion of attempted murder. You think it was an attempted murder, eh? I mean, what else would you call the thing? That's kind of crazy when you start thinking about it. Anyways, 27 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out and doing the things that we are doing here on this lovely morning. Before we get it too far into this, I want to share this with you because I think that this is important. We talk about it all the time, but I think it's important, especially during this time of the year. Let me tell you about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences from people in your local communities whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. Just in case, if you want to get more information, all you have to do is go to afsp.org. That is afsp.org to find out more information. Or you can call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741. So there you go. There's where you can get some information. It's always good to know this stuff because you never know when you might need to spread some of that love or share it with others, or where you might need it personally. You never know what could be something that will cause for you to change the way that you're looking at things at the particular moment in time. So just think about that as we are talking about the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Keep in mind that also it is available in different languages. And let's just be realistic. The holidays is a tough time for some people. It just is what it is, and we have to talk about this. Please, please, please keep those things in mind. Anyways, I think we're close enough to, call it a gig. That's for sure. So let's see. It is currently 29 minutes past the top of the hour. I think it is time to do that thing that we do, that we call our main story. So maybe we should go ahead and consider doing that right now.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's start talking, moving, grooving, doing the things that we do. If you did take a look today, because it always depends on what you have going on. If you're on the podcast, that means you're later inside of the day. If you're listening to the radio, well, you probably more than likely did not see this. If you're listening or watching via, the different social media realms that are out there, I get it. There's some other things that are available to you. But you did see that the title, the downward spiral. And there's a reason for the madness. There's a reason for the naming. There is a reason for why I call some of the things that we do around here the things that we do. And listen, there is certain times inside of life, depending on what you're taking a look at, positive, negative, whatever you want to do, that you have to know that the downward spiral has started. And what do I mean here? Well, you can look at it so many different ways. You can say, well, I'm on the verge of retiring, so the downward spiral of my career is happening. There could be a timeline of something that you're doing and you know that it's coming to an end. That's the downward spiral of the timeline of whatever that you had set up. There's so many different ways on looking at these things. Sometimes positive, sometimes negative, sometimes whatever you want to take a look at it. And I find myself, as we are having this conversation, we're in the downward spiral, at least at this portion of what I'm doing. So I'm in the downward spiral at the moment of I know that I will have a limited time left inside of this temp studio. Hey, don't get me wrong. I like the temp studio. Nothing wrong with it so far. A lot of people have asked if there's holes in the walls behind there. That's actually mirrors, but that's a whole other story. But here's the thing. It's all about the perspective on how you put things. It's the downward spiral of whatever you want it to be. Good, bad, ugly. However, spiral does not mean that you're spiraling out of control. It just could mean that you're going one way or the other. Keep a mind inside of that. But as we take a look and talk about this, it kind of sounds like, where am I going with this? What is your current downward spiral? Like, what do you look at and you have these thoughts that things could be going in the direction that you want? Things could be going in the direction that you don't want. I mean, there's a number of things to talk about. Think about this for a moment. Right now, there is a lot of conversations of people going out there and saying, hey, listen, we want to trend towards zero. We want our incidents to be at zero. So would you want there to be a downward spiral? That's a good question to probably ask yourself. But then also at the same time, too, if you're looking at your bank account and it's taking a downward spiral, well, you don't want that to happen. But there's a lot of things that you need to think about as we're talking about this. Spiraling depends on how the perception and how the assumption is on what you have going on. As we continue to take a look at a lot of things going on inside of the world, what is it that you want to see spiral? Listen, I don't want any kind of incidents occurring on in my job, but I know that I can't put my goal to have zero incidents in what's going on because I don't think it's a realistic expectation. As we've had in the past, and we've talked about this several times over, I'd rather have an ankle sprain any day of the week than a death inside of my organization. But it's these things that people sometimes think about and they put the wrong trend or the wrong thought process about it. The downward spiral can mean so many other things. Some positive, some negative, but it all depends on how you take a look at it. It's amazing to me that at times we sit back and have conversations about some of just the oddest things. But it's all about the perspective on how you put your mind to it. How you put your brain to it. Because think about this real quick. Think about the negative that you probably made the assumption about when you heard about the downward spiral. Think about the negative that was associated to it. Now, here's some other things. Think about some time that you might have been in an argument with someone. There's still that one argument that you still think about that might have occurred years ago, that even when you still think about it, it still gets you angry. I should have said this. I should have done that. Why is it that still happens? But it's how you frame it in your mind. It's how the framing goes. And it's amazing to me that you take a look at something like that and how it can still change your attitude, your perception, or what is going on in that time. You can still have that same general feeling, even at that moment, on a discussion that you might have had years ago, hours ago, months ago. I've seen some people take some big extremes because of downward spiraling friendships. You know, I'll sit back and I kind of chuckle just listening to some stories that I've heard throughout the years. That spiraling, that downward trend, if you may, it could be good or it could be bad. It's all about the perception on how you look at it. Think about that for a moment, because it's one of those things that as we sit here today, 35 minutes past the top of the hour, there's so many things that can come to mind just that easily. But then again, like I always say, what do I know? I'm just a guy behind a microphone.
What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Too close, can't deny. Where have you been all my life? It's a sin, love is blind. What you do, how'd you get so pretty? Are you leaving? Are you leaving?
Okay, there you go. 40 minutes past the top of the hour. Love is Blind by Coma, Stevenson. This song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. So feel free on giving it a downloady loady. And thank you for Coma Stevenson for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Okay, Love is Blind, baby. Let's get some moving and some grooving back into the way that the world is seeing things. Anyways, are you excited? I mean, I need to know, are you excited about, tomorrow? I don't know. I'm just asking the question. Anyways, according to a new study, drive-through services times have slowed down by 26 seconds compared to this time last year. That may not seem like much, but the world in the world of fast food, every moment counts. A speedier drive-through can be a competitive advantage for restaurants, while long lines may discourage customers from stopping in. While restaurant staffing shortages are the main cause of the drive-through delays, fast food chains improving multiple solutions, including more lanes, more pickup options, more technology. Burger King is building a prototype with the drive-through lanes. McDonald's and others are experimenting with an automated voice technology that can take the customer's order. And last week, KFC announced a drive-through alternative called Quick Pickup. Customers are order ahead and then park in dedicated spots and then walk into the restaurant and pick up their orders near the register. That takes some pressure off the drive-through workers and helps the restaurants build loyalty with rewards and offers through the apps and website. Just a thought here, though, but they also build loyalty by getting my order right sometimes. I mean, that's a thing. And then, okay, so wasn't an insult when they said, I'm sorry about your wait. Okay, I get it. And slow drive-thrus, okay, now the supply chain issue is really hitting us at home. And the other thing to think about is, have you ever just went through a drive-thru and just said, okay, I'm going to give you $20. Surprise me on what you're going to give me, because that's sometimes just what you need to do.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Pretty much everyone in the world with internet or TV knows that tomorrow is Thanksgiving in the U.S., but for many, it's Friendsgiving. What's Friendsgiving? Hint, it has
11 site video.
Let's go ahead and let's stop that for a moment. So what does that have to do with anything? Pretty much. It has nothing to do with the TV show. The unofficial holiday has been growing in popularity since the first showed up online in 2007, but the term Friendsgiving didn't start by calculating the significantly until 2013. And what is Friendsgiving? Basically, it's Thanksgiving celebration enjoyed with the company of friends rather than family. Its origins may have changing the economics around the 2007, but many young people moved to large cities for work when the Great Recession hit, leaving them without enough money to head home for Thanksgiving or jobs that required working through the holidays. So more informal gathering among friends made sense. It would also be related to people getting married later in life and then delaying the childbirth. As a result, some may have not had immediate family to celebrate the holiday with. By now, Friendsgiving has come a long way from the usual casual origins, even inspiring a 2020 Netflix movie. We're pretty sure it's against the title. Yeah, I'm sure that I don't have to say it. And using the family as a barometer, Friendsgiving sounds like a better idea every year. Of course, the main problem is that none of my friends have any idea how to cook turkey, so there is no point on actually going to visit them. Okay, maybe that's not what I should have said, but I did say it, and we're already too late there.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, maybe it's time to hold the phone. This is not a joke, as I do say this, so here you go. Is nothing sacred? According to a new survey, people feel the need to use their cell phones pretty much everywhere at any time, and including at a wedding, funeral, while on the toilet, and even immediately after sex. According to a new poll examining how people deal with boredom, the emergence of smartphone apps, mobile games have changed people to preoccupy themselves forever. A study of 1,100 Americans found that a staggering 99% of people break out their phones while watching TV. Others find that 88% use their phones while walking on the sidewalk. 73% use them while walking their dog. 42% of them stare at them while crossing the street. 33% use their smartphone while biking and skating. 66% use it during religious services, 50% during a wedding, 33% during a funeral or a wake, and 60% pull out their phone to avoid talking to relatives during holiday parties. Not surprisingly, nearly half of the respondents use their phones while walking have hurt themselves by falling and running into someone else while being distracted. Now, this should be a surprise, as it just to be considered how long it's been since you brought a phone or when you brought a newspaper over a phone into the bathroom. I mean, just something to think about. Here's the gig. I'm going to tell you, because this happened years and years ago. At this point, it probably was, let me take a look. Probably 7 or 8 years ago. Was it 7 or 8 years ago? I don't know. Maybe it wasn't that long ago. Maybe I'm gonna go with, let's go with a minimum of 5. I was at a funeral. Not something I normally attend, but I was at a funeral. It had to be 7 years ago. Okay, but I was at a funeral and somebody hauled off and video chatted with somebody else during the actual funeral because the other person couldn't be there, and decided to show the video of the wake of the person inside of the casket. It was the weirdest thing I had seen at a funeral, that's for sure. And my brain could not wrap around it, because I was just like, what the hell is going on inside of this place? I mean, have people just totally lost their shit in regards of what they're doing with this? I just didn't get it. I truly did not get it at all.
Never. Rated R Safety Show. Sarcastic? Never.
Okay, so there you go. Let's talk about some other things. 48 minutes past the top of the hour. No winner for Monday night's Powerball drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $224 million jackpot, or $160.8 million cash payout. So there you go. If you're interested in playing the game, there you go. You got something to do. Anyways, I think before I get into this next portion, I think I need to bring in a little Johnny Smalls one more time and let him talk to you about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote has been submitted by Steve. Charles Bukowski said, "Can you remember who you were before the world told you who you should be?" I think this quote can be magnified now that we're all under the watchful eye of social media. I have a friend who's a bit bizarre, but I love the guy. He marches to the beat of his own drum. He posts weird, quirky things that make me smile. Now you gotta understand, he doesn't do this for followers. It probably pushes some people away. He does it because that's who he is. I think he's awesome, just the way he is. No matter what the world thinks, some would feel like they need to change themselves to fit in. He doesn't do that. He's just himself, and that makes me smile. And it makes me like him even more. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlysaMorgan.com. As we wrap up our pre-Thanksgiving wellness series, here are some tips to enjoy abundance of food in a balanced way. Create a calorie deficit by exercising to burn off extra calories before you dive into your favorite foods. Take a walk or do a quick workout early in the day and then again after dinner. Don't waste your calories on foods that you eat all year long. Fill your plate with small portions of holiday favorites that only come around once a year so you can enjoy desirable foods and make the best of what's available to you. Rather than making the food the center of holiday experience, focus your attention on the entire celebration, including the once-a-year sights, sounds, and people at the event. If you are hosting, ask the guests to come with Tupperware so they walk away with leftovers and you don't deal with a full fridge the following day. For this and more information on wellness, check out AlysaMorgan.com.
Safety FM, changing safety cultures one broadcast and one podcast at a time.
So here's my question. Does it have to be Tupperware branded? I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking the question there. Anyways, there you go. 51 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging, moving and grooving and doing the things that we do because, you know, those things are always important. Anyways, let's talk about some more things going on inside of the world real quick. I think that this is going to be important as we are talking. So here we go. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Where do we want to go? Let's go to 2012. The continued NHL lockout results in all games through December the 14th being canceled. The lockout was declared after a new agreement could not be reached by the NHLPA before the expiration of the NHL collective bargaining agreement in September. The new collective bargaining agreement would be signed in early January, ending the lockout. So that happened back on this date. Back in 2012. Anyways, let's talk about some birthdays for today. Sarah Hyland turns 31. Lee Jenner turns 39. Beth Phoenix turns 41. Katherine Heigl turns 43. Colin Hanks, 44. Stephen Merchant, 47. Billy Connolly turns 79. And Pete Best turns 80 today. Anyways, if you're looking for some reasons to celebrate, you know, before you have the big celebration tomorrow, let's talk about those. National Sardines Day. The one-on-one day. Yeah, the one-on-one day. Boy, that could mean so many things. I'm not even sure. National Jukebox Day. All Our Uncles Are Monkeys Day and Evolution Day. So all days that you can celebrate if you're so inclined to do so on the day of today. Anyways, before we get you out of here, let's talk about some other things before too long. Pillow fighting is moving out of the bedroom and onto the boxing ring. Pillow Fight Championship holds its first live pay-per-view event in Florida. Hello, Florida. How you doing, Florida? On January the 29th, Steve Williams, a man who is touring childhood houseplay into a pro combat sports. The only difference between our fights and MMA fights is that nobody gets hurt. The 3-round bouts will be available to view on sports streaming platform Fight. That is FITE. I say this all the time. If you hang out with me outside of the show, I always say there is an audience for everything. And I guess when I really say that, it is no joke whatsoever.
What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, we got some double whack facts for you today. Here you go, some whack facts. The average male spends 11.4 minutes in the shower. Females spend 13. The little bumpers on the underside of the toilet are called bucculets. Bucculets, just so you know. A balanced diet for a human is about the same as that as for a rat. The more features your phone has, the longer you spend on the toilet. The average speed of a Heinz ketchup squirt is about 0.028 miles per hour. None of the passengers on the Mayflower had middle names. Think about that. How about if I give you this one real quick? I'll give you this one as well. How about if I give you some turkey whack facts real quick? I'll do that. An adult turkey has about 3,500 feathers. A male turkey gobbles, hens do not. They make a clicking noise. A 15-pound turkey usually is about 70% white meat and 30% dark meat. A 16-year-old turkey is called a fryer. A 5 to 7 month one is called a young roaster, and a year-old bird is yearling. So there you go. A turkey 15 months is called mature. So there you go. Nutritionists believe that the amount of in the turkey is sufficient to introduce sleeplessness rather than the traditional bun, potato, stuffing pie Thanksgiving meals as a whole trigger after dinner lethargy. So being lethargic, you know what I'm saying there. Plus all the wine. So there you go. For the record, turkey do not have a belly button, Joe, just for you to know. Anyways, let me give you some scoops of BS before we get you out of here real quick. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving in the U.S., or as it known in my house, hey, let's black out drunk before my mother-in-law can remind everyone of the huge disappointment I am day. The U.S. Thanksgiving is tomorrow, a day of reflection that gives thanks for the blessings. I'm thanking the pilgrims for choosing Turkey Day and not yak. So that's a good thing. I mean, turkey. Could you imagine sitting around with a whole bunch of people eating yak? That would have sucked. Researchers show that occasional pot smoking is not harmful to your lungs. Scientists came to the conclusion after counting all day the gold albums that Miley Cyrus has. A poll of millennial and Gen Zers take about 25,000 selfies during their lives, not to be confused with the Kardashians, who take about 25,000 selfies before lunch. Nearly 60% of Vegas casinos' revenues comes from slot machines. The other 40% comes from guests touching the Cheez-It box in the hotel mini bar. So there you go. Some things to think about there. And what else do I got? Fact, drinking coffee or tea lowers a person's risk of stroke. It's true. Starbucks fans, as long as you don't look at your receipt, you'll be fine.
What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, at the top of the hour, I will be going over to Radio Big, exclusively hanging out for the next couple hours, doing some music and all that kind of fun stuff. If you want to come over and hang out, you're more than welcome on doing so. Here you go. I got a random joke for you for today if you need that. So let's go through that real quick. I miss the good old days when Black Friday actually was on Friday. Procrastination is totally a good thing. You always have something to do tomorrow, plus you have nothing to do today. If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. What's a pickup line that's so bad it's awesome? If you show me if I show you my Pokemon, can I Pikachu? Are you on the bottom of my laptop because it's really hot and it's making me nervous? If your bank balance was the same as your phone number, how much money would you have? Boy, did that go all over the place. If you need something for the water cooler, try this. 10% of us admit that we aren't very good at this, but probably more. But it's probably more than that. So what is it? Spelling. Yeah, without spell check, I'd definitely be screwed. So there you go. So here, let me tell you the gig. I will not be here the rest of the week. I will not be here tomorrow or Friday. And I won't be here all of next week either. So just so you know, I hope you really do enjoy your holiday season as it's getting off to a start. So we will be gone for the next week and a half. I will make the return, and then we'll talk about some of the things that I've been doing here for the last little bit. So thank you for taking a listen. We can't do what we do without you, the most important part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. So thanks for hanging out. If I can leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. You cannot be anything if you want to be everything. Think about that. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to the Rated R Safety Show on Radio Big and on Safety FM. Hope you enjoy your holiday if you are celebrating tomorrow. I will see you on the back end. Hope you enjoy the next week and a half if we don't speak before then. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.